Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to 20-Minute Event Prof Marketing. I'm Jason Greenman from Acomo, and I'm here with my partner in Event Digital Truth, the one and only, the Sabrina Myers from Hospitality Exchange. If you're watching, please say hello, ask questions. We want this to be as interactive as possible. And if you're watching the replay, thank you. Leave comments on the replay as well. We go in, we answer the comments afterwards. So we got 20 minutes, and well, now we've got 19. Sabrina, let's jump straight into it. Today's topic is which social media metrics actually matter. We had a couple great questions last week about that, and we
Mhm.
wanted to dive a little bit deeper today. So, why don't you get started? Let me ask you a question. What is a social media metric?
Aha. So a social media metric. Gosh, I feel like I'm talking about my life story. But yeah, a social media metric, everyone, is basically a unit of measurement on a social media platform based on your activity. That would be the broad definition of what a metric is. So it's a unit of measurement.
hmm Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's how to measure your social media activity, right? I
Exactly.
mean, when we talk about metrics, we're talking about measuring. So that's great. And so going kind of a little bit deeper, why should we be tracking these things? What? I mean, I have a feeling most people don't. Everybody's
Mhm.
worried about creating the right content, sharing, commenting, but why should we actually be tracking these things?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's always my biggest, I guess, advice and tip, or at least information that I give to anyone that I work with, as well as myself, is that, when you do have a social media account and profile and platform, you have to have a purpose to have
hmm
it for your business or your branding or your marketing, whatever your goal is, whatever your objectives are. You need to have a purpose, and then you use that social media platform for that purpose with intent.
hmm
Now, when you have a purpose, which could be, for example, to um, drive leads, to get
hmm
engagement, to raise awareness of your brand. There are certain objectives that you have which will be measurable. And
hmm
you need to have numbers to kind of
Totally.
figure out, are you doing good? Are you doing bad? Have a base of comparison,
Yeah.
so it's, I would say, the reason why we track metrics is just to analyze our overall performance of all the activities and that we are doing on social media. How is the content that you are posting performing? Is it being liked? Is it going viral? Are people enjoying the content? Or is there nothing at all happening and you're like, well, I might have to relook at my strategy of changing up what I'm posting, and sometimes it allows us to, or most times it allows us to see what's doing well versus what isn't. So if
hmm
your account has content like, you're noticing that whenever you post a meme or a video or
hmm
a Q&A that you've done with your podcast, for example, as a audio clip embedded into your post,
hmm
it performs really, really well. So people love that content from you and your account. So that that's one of the things I should be focusing more of and build more into my content, because the response is good and I want to ride that wave and build it further. So that's why I would say is the reason why we should be, and you should be, definitely looking closer at your metrics, and doing the analytics.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the key thing here is performance, right?
Yeah.
If you don't measure, you have no idea how you're performing. You have no history of performance. You don't know if you're doing
Mhm.
better, if you're doing worse. Metrics is the only way to understand how you're performing. I mean, in sales, you have KPIs, right? And you have
That's right.
to hit certain KPIs. I mean, social media is no different. You're investing time and money into something, and you need to see if it's working, because otherwise
What's the
maybe you
point?
shouldn't be doing it, right? Exactly. And so, like, if you're an individual, it's great to measure because, like you said, you can track how certain pieces of content are doing, how
Mhm.
your profile is doing. But also, if you're working in a company and they've asked you to take control of their social media, it's going to justify the work that you're doing too. If you can't
Correct.
show them the metrics, then there's no way to justify the work you're doing. So it's really really important to track these things so that you can maybe ask for a larger budget in social media. If you can show that there's performance, then you can
Yeah.
do more things with it. No.
And I also think I wanted to add in there, Jason, what's really interesting, not just in terms of performance, but it's also demographics. I think demographics are a really, really big
Mm.
key part of metrics and analytics, because it's also super interesting to see who your audience is. Who are
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people that are tuning
Mm.
into everything that you're posting? You might
Yeah.
think that you are creating content for a certain audience, and then
Hmm.
it turns out all of a sudden you've got, I don't know, a specific age group and people with
Yeah.
specific roles, or from
Yeah.
a different country altogether, that are
Hmm.
paying way more attention to your content. So
Then
you're
you're
thinking,
expect. Yeah.
should I then, I don't know, throw in some Spanish words into my
Hmm.
content, because I got a lot of viewers and a lot of engagement from Spain, right?
Totally.
So,
Hmm.
so it's interesting in terms of getting insights such as that as
Yeah.
well, not just in
Yeah.
terms of performance, but also kind of demographic-led content.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, let's go into what the types of metrics are, because demographics is definitely something that you can track. Let's talk about some of the other ones. Maybe, I mean, everybody probably knows about, or they should know about the engagement metrics, right? So we're talking about the likes, the claps. I think this, like, what's the thinking one they have on
The thinking
LinkedIn?
one on LinkedIn is yeah, it's like, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly.
The
I'm not
face.
sure how to take that one. The face, comments, shares, retweets, mentions. These are certain types of metrics. And I mean, maybe should we look at some
Yeah, so
like
let
some
me
live?
share my screen,
Okay.
because then we can just give you little bit insights into three top platforms that we've identified that a lot of event professionals are on, as well as
Hmm.
their businesses, which is
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter for the
Twitter.
beginning. So
Yeah.
let's see, let me share my screen.
Right.
Let me pull this up.
And as we'll see, some of these platforms help you measure metrics a lot better than others. That's something we'll get into a bit later. I think we'll look at maybe LinkedIn first. LinkedIn has fairly
So can
limited.
you see my screen now?
Not yet. Let me see
Not yet.
here.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
let
going
me
to add it
just.
to the screen. Nope. One
Oh,
second.
sorry. Oh, there we go. Sorry, technical difficulty. Let's get back to where I was.
Yeah,
Right, you got to add it. Okay, sorry. Of
there
course,
you go.
of course. Sorry, I've
No
been moderating
worries.
on a different side, so this is why this is happening right now.
You have all
Let
the
me do
excuses. You've been
that. I know I
you
have all these. I
no,
know.
you have good reason. You have good reason. Don't worry.
Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, so this is Sabrina's LinkedIn profile.
Exactly.
Um, all right, so in LinkedIn, what you can do is you can actually go and look at your posts
Yeah. So
individually, right?
So what I'm going to do is I'll click around here. Let's pick this particular one, for example, that I recently
Mhm.
did. At the bottom right here is where you can kind of see the metrics, right? This is what Jason is
Exactly.
talking about. You've got your like, you've got your comments, and the likes here, you can see right here, all these wonderful
Hmm.
icons. There's that little curious, there you go, curious face
Curious. There it is.
over here. So that's engagement metric. Then there's people
Mhm.
comment, or they, share your activity, or they
Mhm.
send it to someone,
Yeah,
which is also a good. So these, I would say, are the four kind of engagement metrics, for example, on
totally.
LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And then you can open up to
Yeah.
see, the different other kinds of metrics that you get off of LinkedIn. But we are going to
Mhm.
touch on this next week as we delve
Yeah.
further into LinkedIn
Yeah.
analytics and be more specific about it.
So if you can go back to let's see, where it said the views, because the main thing on LinkedIn, the main thing they give you in your personal posts is that views. I think that one had like 400 and
Yeah, let me go
487
back
views.
there. Let's
Um,
see. So just so you know where you get that, you go back into your posts, and
yeah,
then you can see all the posts you made. And as
perfect.
Jason is saying here, yeah, this had
Exactly.
498 views of your post in feed.
Yeah. So this is basically LinkedIn's impressions. So impressions is an important metric because impressions is basically how many times your piece of content has appeared in somebody's feed. So it doesn't mean that they've engaged with it. It doesn't mean that they've liked it. It doesn't mean that they've commented. It just means it's come down on their screen as they're scrolling. It is important because it kind of shows you how many people have seen it. It's good for brand awareness. It's good to see how much yeah, I guess how much reach you're getting as well, because a reach is how many people in your feed have seen it, plus in other people's feeds that have shared your content. So it's a good indicator of, okay, this is kind of a starting point, right? And
Exactly.
then I would dive into, okay, how many people actually engage with it, which that's the 14 likes and light bulbs, and then how many comments. And those are two great ways to see how interested people are in that piece of content or that type of information.
Exactly. So
Yep.
now let's move on to Twitter, for example.
Right. All right.
This is a great one. Let me just pull up my account and get
Mm-hmm.
that there. And let me share that screen with you and show everyone how you get to your analytics on Twitter. So share screen. Let's go to Chrome tab. Let's go here. All right, let's bring up Twitter.
All right, sweet. Nice. Okay. So Twitter, I like their analytics much better than LinkedIn at the moment. I think they give
Absolutely.
a little bit more. So if you go into your profile, exactly,
More. And then we
more.
go into analytics.
Perfect.
And then this lovely screen opens up. Here we go. Has it opened up yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta share another screen. Hold on, guys. I tell you what, okay, give me a sec. Give me a
No
sec.
way.
This is
So
one of
while you're doing that, I'm going to talk about a couple other metrics that I like to follow, and these are kind of related to Google Analytics. So when you do, you can see referrals if you're sending people to a website. If you go into Google Analytics, you can see how many people are coming from different social media platforms to your website. It's really important because maybe you're spending a ton of time on LinkedIn, but most of the traffic is being referred from Instagram, for example. It's a great way of checking. So referrals is another really important one, and also conversions. So if you're trying to get people to sign up for a newsletter or purchase a product, if you have an event that you're trying to make people do, you can track the conversions that you're getting from socials too. So those are two other kind of very important ones. Let me bring this up now to the stream. Cool. All right, nice. There it is. Beautiful. So much green. So much
so much
green.
green. I love it. So much green. All
All right.
right. So you've got over here the main metrics for Twitter,
Mhm.
which are not so much how many tweets you've done. If you're kind of tracking your frequency, then that's good to
Mhm.
know. But the
Mhm.
impressions
Yeah.
is one of the big ones. The visits to your profile, because obviously
Mhm.
whatever you're posting is getting you people coming to want to see your profile, which is important.
Mhm.
Um, People talking about you, that's pretty much mentions. That's
Mhm.
really important because you want people talking about you and your content. And of course, follower numbers. So if your follower numbers have gone up, then that's also absolutely a metric.
Exactly. And what's great about this too that LinkedIn does is they give you the percentage. That's fantastic because if you just had 95 tweets, there's no comparison against that. So you can see actually the percentage increase and decrease on every metric there, which is really nice.
Exactly.
Kind of going back to the 95 tweets, that's an interesting metric too that people don't tend to track, but it's
Hmm.
actually pretty important because if you're creating consistent content, I would set goals like I want to do X number of tweets per week. I want to do X number of blog posts per week. I want to do X number of posts to Instagram per week. And so you can actually track that and see if you're sticking to those goals that you have. So the activity can be an important metric just to make sure that you're being like accountable for your own production, right?
Absolutely. And what's really important to say is this is absolutely free and provided by Twitter. So anyone that has an account on Twitter can access these analytics. It is
Yeah.
given to you, handed to you on a silver platter. What you do with it, that's on your side of
Yeah.
the court, how you respond and how you use it. And we will be touching on Twitter analytics in a different episode, as we're going to be breaking them down platform by platform, because it really can be quite a science, and it's important to really take the time to break every single platform down so that you know specifically what to do per platform, because not everyone is on every platform. So,
Hmm.
LinkedIn might not be as important to you as Twitter. So
Yeah,
it's important to know platform specific what to do.
for
Now,
sure.
just as an additional side note to this one for Twitter, you can actually delve deeper into every single tweet and get
Individual tweet.
analytics from every single tweet.
And which is also really, really nice. You can really dig into the performance of those things. So, how are we doing on time? We still got 4 minutes. Excellent. All right. So, I mean, that's a really, really quick breakdown in terms of what types of metrics you can find on your socials. So, event professionals, event companies, those are suppliers, AV companies, stand builders, venues, hotels. Everybody needs to be tracking these things, because otherwise, you're just kind of sending things out into space and hoping for the best and having no idea what it's doing. So
Exactly.
I think what Sabrina and I are really trying to push today is make sure you have a process in place to track these metrics. And the next thing that, coming full circle, getting back to the original question, which metrics, metrics actually matter? And I mean, I think I would start by saying maybe it totally depends on your goals. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people start out on their social media journey of like, I want to get more followers. I want to get more followers. I want to get more followers. And that is what
Yeah.
we call vanity metrics.
Hmm.
Vanity metrics are not necessarily your friend. They are nice to have,
Hmm.
but they don't really, they shouldn't be one of your influencing factors for the content that you are creating. You shouldn't want to be creating content just to get more followers. You want to be getting organic growth, and we will
Hmm.
touch on that in another episode, but that's what we mean. So follower numbers are good to keep track of, absolutely, just to kind of see baseline growth and baseline organic growth for your accounts. So that is definitely important. But there's a whole different spectrum of what is also important to do with that. I'd say,
Exactly.
Jason, engagement is a big one. The engagement rate that you have with your posts,
Hmm.
how are they resonating with
Yeah.
the audience that you are creating content for,
Hmm.
because that gives you a good idea of what kind of content you should be creating
Yeah.
more of, and what you should be creating less of, and what works
Totally.
and what doesn't.
Exactly, exactly. And going back to the follower one too, I mean, I think a good way of looking at followers is, if you're chasing number of followers, it doesn't mean that much. I mean, it seems like you have more influence, but if you have 20,000 followers and five of those are conversions, it's not really, it doesn't do much for you, right?
Exactly.
And I would rather have 1,000 followers that are hyper interested in what I'm saying and doing and engaging and being part of my community than
Exactly.
20,000 that don't really care about what I'm saying. So followers can be a metric that's kind of a false positive in terms of the types. I mean, it is important. It's important to track, but the quality of those followers is very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then obviously, another metric that is super important to track as well is reach. Reach
Yes.
is super important. It's how far and wide is your content reaching who you want it to reach, your
Hmm.
community online. So that
Yeah.
is super important. So I think
Yeah.
and also, if you want to break it down more, demographics are important, because if
Hmm.
you've set a goal that you want to be the best stationary brand in Germany,
Hmm.
and your demographics are looking very international, not so much
Yeah.
German,
Yeah.
then it might be that you need to work on the content a little bit to try and get more views and presence
Hmm.
within the German market, for example.
Yeah.
So demographics are definitely important, because of, especially within branding or targeting a specific audience, it helps you to see the numbers and see the representation, so that you can either tweak what you need to do, or if you're doing what you are doing and you're hitting the right demographics, then you're doing a good job, and you just got to keep pushing it further and further.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, with the last 49 seconds, let's do a quick summary. Then we're going to head over to Clubhouse for
Clubhouse.
20 minutes. So join us, come and talk, ask questions. It's really open, open conversation. We invite people onto the stage. So just to summarize, I mean, the point of this conversation was, what metrics really matter. We talked about what are the metrics, what are the types of metrics, what the different platforms look like. And really, to answer that question, the first thing you have to do is set your goals for your social media accounts. What are you trying to accomplish with those? And based on your goals, then you can set your metrics, and then you start tracking those metrics. I think that's, the question we originally had was maybe a bit of a trick question because it kind of depends on your goals. But hopefully, this has given you a good summary and in terms of what to look for as you're going through looking at your analytics.
Absolutely. Fabulous. So join
Oh,
us. We're done. We're out of time. 20
nice.
minutes is up. Fabulous.
Right
So
on
we're going to
time.
head into Clubhouse now. It's a room that is at the same title, 20-minute Event Profs Marketing Live, and we're going to continue this topic of metrics up in there. And yeah, please join myself and Jason there, and we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, maybe 12:30. We'll let you know 24 hours in advance. Same place here on LinkedIn, streaming live for 20 Minutes Event Profs Marketing Live. Thank you for joining us.
Perfect.
And
Thanks,
if you
guys.
have any questions, make sure to put it in the comments so we can get back to any questions
Please.
that you have.
Awesome.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. See you soon. Bye.